I'm Ric Edelman. Building a new business is tough, so we're going to introduce you to some young entrepreneurs who are battling to make it online. And it's even harder when you're married to your business partner. B. Smith and Dan Gasby have built a retail empire together and have managed to have fun doing it. We'll find out their secret. Plus, the real future of Social Security and the problems of suddenly coming into a large sum of money. Yes, problems. All this and more straight ahead on The Truth About Money.
Best-selling author and founder of one of the nation's largest financial planning firms, Ric Edelman.
Is it still possible to create a huge company by starting in a cheap one-room office or basement? I sent the producer of my weekly radio show, Rick Fowler, to Silicon Valley to see if it's true. And if the employees you're about to meet look a little strange, it's because Rick visited on Pajama Friday.
So if you look at this room, somebody who is in Berlin, who has this exact space or very similar to this space.
And we could rent this room for a night or more in Berlin.
Absolutely, absolutely. The name actually stems from Air, Bed, and Breakfast. We allow people from all over the world who have a second bedroom, who have a second home, who have islands, tree houses, Airstream, RVs, to list their property on Airbnb. And we allow our guests to travel to any of these destinations and stay in people's homes.
How did it come about? How did it start?
The idea was from roommates in the Rhode Island School of Design. And they had this idea of creating a service to allow people to stay in their own place.
So you have 3 guys start from scratch in 2008. Tell us a little bit about where you are today in terms of growth.
Today we have over 100,000 listings in over 192 countries, and we are already exceeding 5 million room nights.
What's the benefit to me getting out of the routine of a hotel and staying with a host family?
The great thing about that, you can find properties anywhere in that city. It could be in a very urban area. It could be in a very residential area. It could be next to a particular landmark that you really want to see. You could look out your window and see the Eiffel Tower. You can also engage with your host, and they will be able to provide you an amazing itinerary of things to see that might be off the beaten path.
In the competitive business world, people study for years how to succeed, how to come up with an idea, how to come up with a new business. This seems so simple. Am I missing something here?
You know, at the end of the day, it's a simple model. I think it's so different in that it's not the traditional model. People get it, and that's what really has fostered our growth.
Rick, thanks for joining the program.
Great to be here.
So it seems like the guy who one day realized, I have an opportunity that I can make a little extra money by renting a room in my apartment to someone who wants to save money on a hotel.
Absolutely.
And he had to figure out how to spread the word, how to let people know that that opportunity existed.
The internet.
The internet.
Social media.
And it didn't take much money, didn't take much time to spread the word. Today, he said, over 100,000 opportunities for rooms that you can rent all around the world.
And every one of those opportunities, they're making a commission.
The classic broker environment, sort of like eBay, putting buyers and sellers together. So the buyers love it because they're saving a lot of money on what they would be spending in hotels. The sellers love it because they're making some money out of an empty room in their house that would otherwise be an empty room in their house. Everybody's happy. And he was able to do this quickly, easily, low cost. Wouldn't have been able to do it without the internet, clearly, which demonstrates that the ability to come up with a harebrained idea, give it a shot, and see what happens. I mean, the video alone showed us dozens, if not hundreds of employees already, and he's making the whole entrepreneur thing happen thanks to today's technological opportunities.
From an Airstream trailer to a castle.
Everything, anything you want is available. Pretty cool stuff. Rick, thanks very much.
My pleasure.
If you are a middle-class American and need long-term care, the cost will be covered by your regular medical insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, or none of the above. Not sure? We'll be back in just a moment with the answer.
At a recent conference, investment advisors were asked just one question. What is your biggest fear?
My biggest fear is I have not thought about all the things that could negatively impact my clients. And I wake up thinking, what have I not thought about?
I worry that they're not doing what they need to do to retire.
Clients who are focusing on the short term, what's going on right here and now.
Professionally, not getting the proper points across to my clients to help them understand the significance of saving properly and investing for their retirement.
So, what will cover the cost of long-term care? The answer is that so long as you have assets, neither your medical insurance, Medicare, or Medicaid will cover long-term care. All the more reason to consider long-term care insurance.
John is with us on the phone. How are you, John?
I guess I'm okay, guys. How are you doing this weekend?
Doing great. How can we help?
I'm 45 years old. I've never put a dime away, and I just got a lawsuit, a malpractice lawsuit, medical malpractice lawsuit for about $400,000. I
almost want to say congratulations, but that means something bad happened physically. So I'm sorry to hear it. Glad you at least got a check for it.
Right. Now, I really want to, my daughter's already in college. My son's going into Marines, so I've already paid for most of the college, and I don't have to pay for the Marines, but I don't have anything for me. I own my house outright. I don't owe anything on it.
John, are you, tell me about your health. Is there an expectation of further medical procedures or medical expenses you'll incur?
Yes. Well, no, that's all paid for from the lawsuit.
So this $400,000 is separate and above that?
Mine is all free and clear.
Okay. Do you have any debts?
Like maybe $20,000.
What is that, credit card debt?
Bad credit. I have the worst credit in the world. That's why, I am where I am, I guess.
Okay. You're a wonderful candidate for getting a financial plan done. Yeah. We need to pay off the credit card debt, but we also need to take a look at your spending to make sure that your expenses are in line with your income, because that will determine what we do with the $400,000.
The more we understand about your situation, John, the easier it will be for an advisor to tell you what you should be doing with this money. Certainly paying off the debts is one thing, setting up your cash reserves is another, and potentially investing the balance of that so that we can generate income for you if that's what you need.
Yeah, I think the mistake is looking at the $400,000, John, and just saying, okay, this is one issue I want to tackle. What do I do with it? Nobody can give you effective advice without asking you a whole lot of other questions. That's basically what we're saying.
And in a minute and a half on a radio show, that really isn't something we have the ability to do to the level you deserve. And that's why there's no substitute for you meeting with a financial advisor to take a look at this comprehensively, because I'm concerned that due to the credit card debt, you have more in expenses than you have in income. With a bad credit record, you've got a long history of this. So we need to address all the issues that Anderson said, your debt, your cash reserves. We need to look at your income. We need to look at whether you're contributing to a retirement plan at work, what the options are. We need to look at insurance. And we need to look at your medical situation today and make sure that this money is available for anything that might be needed down the road.
Yeah.
So short answer, John, is you've got a one-time opportunity. This will never be repeated. This is not like you got a big promotion and therefore a new higher salary that you can count on month after month, year after year. This check of $400,000 is something you'll never get again. So I don't want to put pressure on you, but you know what? The pressure's on.
Really glad you guys are all here tonight because I'm trying to beat a gambling addiction, and my therapist says it's important to have people around me at all times. I'm constantly surrounded by friends and family begging me if I can quit. It's a vicious cycle is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, job market's rough. For a while I sold furniture, which didn't last too long. It was my furniture.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. I'd like to know if you could discuss a little bit how you advise your clients in the 20 to 30 years old range about Social Security.
We fully believe that Social Security will be there for you when you reach retirement. There is no question that Social Security is under duress. We all know the issues. We don't really have to belabor them here. But Social Security, if only for political reasons, is never going to go away. What is going to change is the amount of the benefit that you receive and the age you'll have to be to receive them. The younger you are, the greater the risk to those two issues. If you are already retired, I am confident for political reasons that you are not going to see any changes in Social Security. You might not see dramatic increases in your checks, but the likelihood that you'll receive cuts in Social Security ain't going to happen if you're already retired and receiving Social Security. If you're in your 50s, early 60s, and you're soon going to be receiving Social Security, you can anticipate very few, if any, changes. Again, because of political reasons. If you're in your 20s or 30s, you can anticipate substantial changes in Social Security. You're going to have to be much older than today's retirees in order to qualify for Social Security. You will probably not receive as much as today's retirees receive on an inflation-adjusted basis. That is the political and economic reality of what's going on. There is no way that the Social Security system can continue to pay the benefits in the way that it's paying them to the massive numbers of Americans who are reaching retirement age over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. It simply isn't going to work. So we are going to have, without a doubt, those two issues. There's a third. In addition to a reduction in benefit and a delay in benefit, there's a third piece. An increase in tax to pay for those benefits that remain. So we can anticipate further expenses in the payroll tax, higher payroll taxes to continue paying for Social Security benefits. So you're going to get compression on both sides. Higher taxes while you're working, fewer benefits while you're in retirement. As a result, how do we handle it for our clients in our financial planning models? Unless the client is near or in retirement, we ignore Social Security. Not because we don't believe Social Security won't exist, but as a safety valve. If we ignore Social Security and assume that the only thing you're going to have in the future is what you save, then let's work toward that. If in fact Social Security is there for you, it becomes icing on the cake, and everyone is so much the better off. So for somebody in their 20s, 30s, 40s, we tend to ignore Social Security in the future, even though in reality it will be there.
Okay, thank you.
Been a strange year, for the country, and the money thing, money's tight, right? America's broke. And they say it on the news like we don't know that. They show everybody in the mall, everybody shopping, and then they keep saying, and America's broke. Again, like you'd forget that. Like you're at the Mercedes dealer and you're like, oh, I forgot. I'm broke. Why am I here? I'm glad I tuned into the news today. I didn't know I was broke.
Hi, Rick. My name is Jackie. And I'm Jenny. And we work in the hospitality industry. I'm from New York. I just moved here. I love my job, but we're not offered retirement plans. So my question is, what should we do?
And also, in the hospitality industry, you're often not offered insurance. So what's the best way to go about getting insurance?
It's a shame that you're both working for employers that don't offer you employee benefits, but it's not at all uncommon. It's unfortunate because about 40% of your total comp should be non-cash compensation. Employee benefits like health insurance, a 401k, and paid vacation. Unfortunately, in an awful lot of industries, sales, the hospitality industry, and others, the employers don't provide any of these benefits, and that means you're on your own. That means you need to act like an owner, not an employee. Number one, create an IRA. You can put away $5,000 a year into an individual retirement account, and you absolutely need to do this since you don't have the ability to save in your employment. Second, since your employer is not offering you any health insurance, you need to go buy it on your own. That means talking to an insurance agent. Recognize that there are two different kinds of insurance agents. One sells life insurance, health insurance, disability insurance. The other one sells property insurance for your car, for your apartment, for your home, and so on. You want to talk to the life insurance agent. This is the one who sells health insurance, even though they're called life insurance agents. Some of them specialize in health insurance, and shopping around, like you would for any other product, is how you're going to be ensuring your ability to get the best deal. The other thing to keep in mind is that if you're going to spend an entire career in an industry that doesn't offer these fundamental benefits, you're actually going to be denying yourself some of the financial security that other careers offer. And I say that to you because you're young. You really need to make the decision, do you want to work in careers where the economic reward is not as strong as other careers might offer? I'd rather you made that decision today, decidedly, rather than making that decision in your 40s and wishing you had done something different in your 20s.
In the past 30 years, how many times has the performance of the U.S. stock market ranked among the top 5 in the world? Was it once, 4 times, 14 times, or 26 times? The answer's coming up.
Bea Smith has a long career of being first. She was the first African-American woman featured on the cover of Mademoiselle magazine. She was the first to have a line of products distributed through a major national retailer and the first to have a nationally distributed furniture collection. I talked with Bea Smith and her husband Dan Gasby to find out how this all began. Well, here we are in this beautiful restaurant in New York City, one of 3 that you opened. And what most people don't know, Bea, is that that's really how you began many years ago, was in the restaurant business.
Well, actually, my first business was modeling.
Well, but once we got past the modeling, because let's face it, all right?
Then I could eat. And so I went into the restaurant business.
And that's how you decided to go to the next step, because today you're known, both of you, for having so much more than that. You've got cookbooks, you've got complete designer fashions, you've got hundreds of products that you sell at Bed Bath & Beyond, one of the nation's largest retailers, on and on and on.
Food and fashion and style have been a part of my life forever.
And it could be argued that food and fashion go hand in hand.
They do.
They create fun. We're in the fun business.
Well, now that you say that, I'm like, well, of course, that's obvious, but I don't know that I would have thought that.
Well, fun and entertaining. I mean, what she does so well is no matter what the situation, she brings a grace and an elegance to it. And it's hard to find her not smiling, or it's hard to find her not looking at someone and seeing the good in them. And that's what we've been able to translate into our business. I mean, she has this unique ability to make people feel special, to make them feel enriched, and at the same time, to connect with them, and that they want to know a little bit more about her.
So describe for me the notion of opening a restaurant. Let's face it, restaurant business is notoriously difficult. The vast majority fail in a very short period of time. You've been owning restaurants for over 20 years. You now have 3 locations in 3 separate cities. Right. How do you make that happen?
I wanted originally to be an actress, and I have acted and things like that, but what I knew about the restaurant business is that it's like theater. It's very much like theater.
You have an audience?
Yes. First of all, I was the casting agent because I was, I could cast, all the servers and the employees and things like that. I like theater. I could decorate. I liked that. And food, I grew up with, making homemade root beer and wine and cooking with my parents and barbecuing and all kinds of things in Western Pennsylvania. So it just was a passion of mine, and I turned that passion into a business. So, and eventually I met my husband in that business, and I thought, okay.
She was the first woman, African-American woman, on what I used to call the Avenue of Lost Souls, 8th Avenue, and you'd see transvestites the size of the front line of the New York Giants coming down the street in tutus, and she did a groundbreaking.
And high heels.
And high heels with blonde wigs and red lipstick. And she broke that avenue. She made that avenue fashionable before anyone else she was there. And I thought, I'm going to go and support her.
Well, you just said a key point there, Dan, that you wanted to support her. A lot of folks discover that entrepreneurship is extraordinarily difficult. When you add in the notion of a married couple engaging in business together, Jean and I have done that for 25 years ourselves. I know what it's like. It can often be disastrous. It can not only result in a failed business, but a failed marriage as well. How have the two of you managed to succeed?
First of all, we like and respect each other. We are together all the time, but we're two different people.
So you specifically split up the duties?
I'm the lineman, if you want to use it in sports analogies. She's the quarterback. I may never score a touchdown, but I keep the defense from hitting her, and that's what we try to do.
And you're both content?
We are, but he is the wind beneath my wings. He is.
And
has been.
And that's what so many people don't understand, is that a great entrepreneur is only as great as the people that they've surrounded themselves with.
Amen. Right. But we also believe it's not about ego, it's we go, how we do it.
Not ego, but we go.
We go.
That's a great
You
line.
can use that one if you want to.
I'm going to steal that. Is that okay?
Hey, anything worth having is worth taking, so you can have it.
What's next for B. Smith?
Want to continue to grow the brand, add new products to the brand. We didn't talk about the furniture collection down at High Point. I'll be going soon for the, for the spring season.
And we're moving more into food. We have an olive oil that's now in almost 3,000, going to 4,000 stores, and we're looking to move more and more into food. I think that's the great frontier.
So it sounds like the future is very exciting for you.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The past has been great too, and I hope it only gets better.
B, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Dan.
Hey, our pleasure. Thank you for being here.
B and Dan have a lot more to say, particularly about how race is still an issue in the business world. So we're going to bring them back in a future episode of The Truth About Money. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss it.
In the past 30 years, the performance of the U.S. stock market has ranked among the top 5 global stock markets only 4 times.
Before we go, a couple of thoughts on today's show. Those young entrepreneurs in California might be a long way off from a big payday, but admit it, if I said .com, the next word you're thinking is billionaire. And then there was John on the radio. He had no idea what to do with almost $500,000 that just fell into his lap. The fact is that too much money too fast can be almost as much of a problem as too little money for too long. Yeah, it seems that fast money might be the answer to all your problems, but taxes take a big bite, and pressure from friends and relatives and charities, well, all that could make you wish you never got the riches in the first place. So if you come into a windfall, the first thing you need to do is make a plan. Get together with a financial advisor to make sure that you can turn your good fortune into a truly good life. And that is The Truth About Money. I'm Ric Edelman. See you next week.